Every day, millions of Indians rely on two wheelers to move through the country's chaotic, colorful, and increasingly urban landscape. From delivery riders in Delhi to college students in Coimbatore, more Indians are choosing to go the electric route. 1 in 20 scooters sold in India today runs on batteries. But is the surge in electric two wheelers just a hype or the start of something bigger? In this video, we will break down the rise of electric two wheelers in India, looking at where the market stands, what's driving growth, who is leading the charge, the challenges ahead, and what the future might hold. This is a peek into India's electric future. India is a giant in the global two wheeler market. In FY 2024, two-wheeler sales in the country reached 18.4 million units, making up a staggering 73% of all automobile sales. What's more surprising is the growth of the electric two-wheeler market. Just 5 years ago, EVs made up less than 0.3% of the market. Today, they have grown to 5.1% of the total two-wheeler sales, from 30,000 in 2019 to nearly a billion units sold in 2024. The growth has clearly accelerated. Between FY 2019 and 2024, electric two-wheeler sales grew at a staggering 101.7% CAGR, while ICE two-wheelers declined at an annual rate of minus 3.7%. While ICE two-wheelers still dominate, this rapid climb in EV adoption is setting the stage for a structural shift in India's mobility landscape. We also see an interesting shift in consumer preference. Traditionally, motorcycle dominated Indian roads, but over the last 5 years, e-scooters have surged ahead of electric motorcycles. E-scooters accounted for 14.7% of all scooter sales in FY24. Meanwhile, electric motorcycles still trail behind with less than 1% penetration, largely due to range concerns and fewer product offerings. Convenience, urban mobility, and growing appeal among working professionals, especially women, have positioned e scooters as a vehicle of choice for the Indian roads. So, what's fueling the move to electric? First, government support. Schemes like FAME 2 and various state level subsidies have made electric vehicles more accessible. And while recent subsidy cuts caused a dip in the sales, they also signaled a transition towards a more self sustaining market. Second, cost of ownership. According to industry estimates, the total cost of ownership for an electric two-wheeler is now 37 to 55% lower than that of petrol scooter or motorcycle, even with upfront prices being higher. The ever-rising fuel cost provides just the right incentive to shift. Third, the environmental factor. Two-wheelers account for nearly 74% of all motor vehicles in India and contribute significantly to urban air pollution. With India ranked as the third most polluted country in the world, the push for clean mobility is urgent and personal. Fourth, demographics and lifestyle changes. India's young, tech savvy population, increasing female workforce participation, and a growing preference for urban, low maintenance mobility are naturally aligned with electric two wheeler adoption. Fifth, technology and product evolution. Today's electric two wheelers aren't just green, they are smart. With ranges now reaching 100 to 150 km per charge and features like app connectivity, fast charging, and touchscreen dashboards, they are becoming aspirational products. And finally, a shift in buying behavior. Replacement cycles have shortened from over a decade to just 7 8 years. People are changing vehicles faster, accelerating repeat purchases and upgrades. Together, these forces aren't just pushing adoption, they are making electric two wheelers the default choice for India's next generation of riders. In the electric vehicles race, one brand has sprinted ahead of the pack: Ola Electric. Backed by big money and bigger hype, it launched fast, built its own gigafactory, and grabbed over 34% of the EV scooter market. But the ride's been bumpy. Reports of product quality issues, software glitches, and actual fires have burned its image. As of the latest data of April 2025, sales are rapidly declining and the company is losing market share to other companies. Behind Ola, companies like TVS, Bajaj, and Ather are steadily expanding their presence. It's clear that the competition is fierce and the customer expectations are rising. In this race, it's not just about who builds the fastest scooter, but also who offers the smartest experience. Electric two wheeler companies are not only innovating on the product front, but they are also changing the business model. Traditionally, automobile companies have adopted a dealer owned, dealer operated model where the capital expenditure as well as operational expenses were borne by the dealer. Electric two wheeler companies prefer to adopt COCO model where they are in control of the experience provided to the end consumer at the showroom. This increases margin for the company, but it also puts the burden of capital expenditure and working capital on them. The journey to electrification isn't without speed bumps. Upfront cost remains a barrier. In FY 2024, the average price of an electric two wheeler was about 40% higher than its ICE counterpart. Even though its long term ownership cost is lower, while this gap is narrowing, it's still a major friction point for price sensitive consumers. Policy volatility adds to the uncertainty. When the government reduced the FAME subsidy in June 2023, monthly electric two wheeler sales dropped by 57% compared to May, illustrating just how subsidy dependent the market still is. Infrastructure is another bottleneck. Charging stations, though expanding, are still sparse outside major cities. Range anxiety persists, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities where public charging options remain limited. The recurring headlines about product reliability issues put a dent in the consumer trust. The uncertain resale value of EVs is also a deterrent. The EV industry is heavily dependent on imports for key raw material. Any unprecedented global event can disrupt the supply chain and also elevate raw material prices. As electric two wheeler companies integrate tech in their products, there comes a risk of technological obsolescence. Product life cycle is extremely short, and as new tech arrives, older loses relevance. Electric two wheeler companies need to constantly invest in upgradation, skill development, and acquisition of new tech. Any mistake would mean wasteful expenditure and dead inventory. Then there's the issue of product diversity. The EV boom has centered largely around scooters. Electric motorcycles remain a sliver of the market, constrained by limited options, range concerns, and consumer hesitation. The electric two wheeler revolution is here, but scaling it will require infrastructure, policy stability, and continued cost rationalization. Despite the hurdles, the electric two wheeler story in India is far from a detour. In fact, it's accelerating. By fiscal 2031, India's two wheeler market is expected to reach 29 to 30 million units, with electric vehicles accounting for 35 to 40% of those sales. In this future, electric scooters will likely lead the charge. The growth is projected at 35 to 37% CAGR, while ICE scooters decline. The key growth drivers will be replacement. Many ICE scooters owners are expected to switch to EVs for lower operating cost, new feature-rich models, and shorter ownership cycles. We will also see new business models like scooter subscription, battery as a service, and smart accessories sold like phone upgrades. The road ahead is ambitious, but if current momentum holds, India could become one of the world's most electrified two wheeler markets within the decade. So, yeah, India's street might still buzz with petrol for now, but the EV revolution is spreading. The EV scooter is already reshaping how millions move, spend, and choose. This isn't just about tech, it's about trust, timing, and who's bold enough to build the future first. India's scooter war is just getting started.